right, so here's our new moon chart for September 2nd, 2024. This is happening at 11 degrees Virgo in 4 minutes. And let's just take a peek at this chart here because Pluto, as you can see, has just retrograded back into Capricorn for the final time. This is the final dent in that story since 2008. Now, I want to draw your attention to this S next to Uranus over here because this means that Uranus has just stationed retrograde today on September 2nd. So, the same day as this new moon, we're experiencing this earthquake energy of Uranus. Uranus is groundbreaking, it shatters glass ceilings, and it also jolts the ground beneath our feet. It is the appearance of the unknown, it's the comet coming out of nowhere. It's the thing that you don't expect, but it leaves you jarred and rattled. Uranus is also a revolutionary energy. It encourages us to seize the moment. What has bubbled up inside of us needs to break free and be heard or be seen or be actualized. We need to take the risk. So we're all tapping into this Uranian energy here. Now, the last time we saw Uranus make waves was the conjunction with Mars, which of course landed on Trump's midheaven, and we saw the assassination attempt. This one is not happening with Mars, but a planetary station is still loud. So we want to be paying attention to the clamor that is coming out of Trump and his camp at this time. There could be a big moment for him career-wise. So let's just see. I know RFK is expecting to potentially drop out here soon, and he has said maybe he would join Trump in some capacity. So there's something here that is shocking. There's something here that is surprising. All right, so we'll be paying attention to that. But this Uranian energy gets baked into this new moon energy that we're going to be working with for the next couple of weeks. So get ready. Uranus is not quiet, it's not subtle, it is surprising. But let's talk about this Virgo signature here for a minute because it is Virgo season. So the new moon kind of doubles down on that Virgo energy. Virgo is all about the details. It's all about planning. It's all about showing up and doing things. It's about humble acts of service. It's about perfecting our craft, perfecting the things that we're good at, continuing to kind of chip away and raise the bar for ourselves, the ability to notice more and more details and acquire more and more knowledge over time. This new moon, it's in a wide opposition with Saturn. So there's a little bit of pressure we might be feeling here, a sense of time being important, a sense of duty or obligation, or needing to tend to things. I mean, Virgo energy here, at least like where I live in the northern hemisphere, Virgo season is all about like the harvest. It really is about kind of closing things down outdoors, like getting everything organized, cutting all the herbs and letting it dry and transporting them to the jars to use as spices throughout the cold seasons, for example. So there's something here about duty and the needing to tend to certain responsibilities. So if you've had some big projects, maybe Mercury retrograde brought some things up for you, some things that you realized that you wanted to tend to or do, this is a good lunation for those projects. This is a good lunation for committing to study, to learn something, to better understand something. This lunation is ruled by Mercury. We've got Mercury in Leo, having recently stationed direct, not too long ago, about a week ago, less. And here we have Mercury is heading into dun, 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 a square with Uranus. This is important because this anchors that Uranus energy into this chart. It anchors its symbolism, its essence, its importance. And this is our third and final square from Mercury. We saw the first one on July 21st. This would have been right around the time that Trump chose Vance as a running mate. I know lots of people are wondering, is he going to keep him? I think he may have to, but there may be something about like if he chooses to partner with RFK that ruffles some feathers. Who knows? I'm just putting it out there. We just had the second one on August 18th. So that was the retrograde one. So we've had 3 squares with Mercury Uranus that brings kind of startling news. It definitely brings some dents in the system and the way things run. There's an electric quality, things are happening quickly. There's a bunch of energy for revelations, realizations, things kind of clicking together mentally, intellectually. So there's definitely a quickness here, things happening at an unexpected pace and speed, things kind of changing, shocking development, shocking stories, shocking facts. So there's something about that that registers, that maybe contributes to this Saturn element of doing something, doing the work, tending to the to-do list, or getting like an inspiration of some kind and saying like, I'm just going to do it. Now, maybe some of us are feeling into this Virgo lunation a little bit more, and we're going to be more on the ball, kind of taking those sharp developing, quick developing cues from Mercury and putting pen to paper, Saturn. But some of us are going to be feeling Mars. And Mars is in a square with Neptune. So this kind of tends to disperse and scatter. And Mars doesn't really know which way to go. Mars doesn't really know which project or which path deserves its attention and focus. It's a very scattered energy here. There's also a desire to do things perfect. So that does kind of feed into this Virgo energy here, to perfect something, to elevate something. It's a very chasing the dragon kind of energy here, where we're trying to get the next high and the next high and make things better and better and better, more fun, more fun, more fun. It keeps kind of raising the bar and scatters, actually. This one I'm a little nervous about, just because the last time we saw Mars at the spot in the sky, we saw 3 squares with Neptune. We saw Mars stationing retrograde in Gemini in late 2022, sorry. And we saw like the scattering of the air. We saw pollutants, Neptune. We saw that train wreck, the transportation, issues with transportation, and that huge toxic train spill that happened in East Palestine, Ohio, that they're now finding polluted like across state lines, like going really, really far west. So there's something about a contagion and its ability to travel, or a toxin and its ability to travel, and it's not being contained very well. So this could be information that isn't being contained very well. There's something spreading quickly in terms of information, or even just something through the air. And again, in astrology, we understand the air to also be like communication and media and things like that. So, as always, with Jupiter in Gemini right now, we need to be really careful about what we hear and bring in this Saturn level of discernment. Because that's the thing, is that with Jupiter in Gemini, the story is quickly changing, but there's always 2 different streams kind of coming in. And the other thing is that our algorithms are catered toward our interests, because these corporations want us to stay on the apps a lot longer. Hello, Pluto and Capricorn. And so they feed us things that we're like, yeah, and we agree with. And so all of us are kind of living in a little bit of a mini vacuum. And so our idea of what's real is not always pure. It's part of the design. It's part of the design. So that's something to be aware of here, I think, with this Mars in Gemini square Neptune, is that it's really difficult to get to the essence of something, the truth of something. So be aware of that. So that's a little bit about this new moon. I think all in all, the new moon chart, I mean, it's kind of like the new moon aspects itself are a little quiet, but everything going on around it, Pluto moving into Capricorn again, Uranus stationing retrograde, those things are loud. And so the first week of this new moon may not be as quiet as we want it to be, but maybe the week after things will kind of tone down a little bit. We can kind of settle into that quieter, like just work on my own stuff, Virgo kind of energy. So this new moon is also the start of eclipse season. The next lunation is going to be occurring on September 18th in Pisces, and that is going to be the very first eclipse that we see along the Virgo Pisces axis. So we're going to be feeling into a whole new set of themes for us to work with collectively at that time. So even though this Virgo new moon isn't making the most dramatic of aspects, there's a lot of energy in this new moon. So it's not going to be the restful kind of new moon that we desire. Remember that things that happen near eclipses, that it quickens the pace. There are massive world developments that are taking place, and eclipses really highlight the large scale events that demonstrate how our fates are all interconnected. So there's a lot of change that's going to be going on. We can always expect things that are like shocking or surprising, and departures. Like those things are always really huge during eclipse season. So we get that here with Uranus stationing in a square with Mercury. We get that from Pluto at the anaretic degree of Capricorn. So expect that there is a lot going on. It is not a quiet time. It may not be the news and things that we want to be doing, or it may not be what we want to hear with Saturn here. Something is kind of bringing the kind of clarity that we don't necessarily want to hear at the time. So anyways, that's a little bit about this new moon, and I hope it's ultimately good for you. I don't know. I'm kind of like on the edge of my seat about this new eclipse series coming in, but also kind of curious to see how it introduces itself to us. So anyways, that was your astrology shot of the day, and I'll catch you next time. Bye. Thanks so much for tuning in with me today. For more astrology in your world, you can connect with me on all platforms at Astro Catherine. You can also head on over to my website, catherineurban.com, where you can book your next astrology reading. We'll go into depth into your natal chart, your progressions, your profections, your solar return, your transits, and beyond. You can also join my mailing list where you can stay up to date with me on new classes as well as article drops. I look forward to connecting with you, and I'll see you next time.